Trump hasn't been a good businessman for years. Well, technically, he never was a good businessman. He was a failure at that. But if you want to see how Donald Trump has talked a much better financial game than he played, all you need to do is examine the numbers behind his fall from the Forbes ranking of the 400 richest people. Trump this week was dropped from the Forbes 400 list for the first time in over 25 years. According to Forbes, Trump is worth $2 billion, the same as last year when he ranked 339th on the list. While many other players have added substantially to their wealth, Forbes says that Trump's wealth has remained stagnant. This just confirms what any number of journalists, including me, actually not me, but the person that's writing this article, have written for years. Trump, who inherited a lot of money from his father, really isn't a very good businessman. Well, he never was. He filed bankruptcy over 6 times. It's well known, especially among those of us who worked at Forbes. The person, like I'm saying, that wrote this article, where the person was a senior editor from 84 to 88, that being on the rich list was hugely important to Trump. He used to endless lobby and occasionally bully the staffers who assembled the list, trying to get them to move his net worth number up. You can find details of Trump's maneuvers in this Washington Post column by a former Forbes staffer, Jonathan Greenberg. Trump probably hasn't been a successful businessman for at least over 20 years, and before that, he basically had filed over 6 Chapter 11 bankruptcies, mostly in the casinos that he brought and mismanaged in New Jersey. And how the fuck do you bankrupt a goddamn casino? That's what I want to know. How the fuck do you bankrupt a fucking casino? On Forbes' 2011 rich list, Trump was listed as having a net worth of $2.9 billion, which I'm pretty sure he didn't have, which is $400 million more than what Forbes says he's worth now, which was adjusted for inflation. That $2.9 billion is worth more than $3.5 billion in current dollars, but that's something over $1 billion more than Forbes says he's worth now. When Trump became squatter, he could have sold his properties and avoided capital gain taxes by getting the ruling that he was eligible for a special tax break available to government employees who sell assets to avoid their complex. If Trump's assets were really worth $3.1 billion, that Forbes number, and he sold them for that amount and put the proceeds into the S&P 500 index fund, he'd currently be worth more than $6 billion, which is way more than double what Forbes says he's worth now. When this person worked at Forbes, they were skeptical about any of the rich list numbers, possibly because they saw colleagues struggling to come up with anything resembling what they call reliable numbers. But people are more skeptical of these numbers now. Even I am. Except for the publicly traded securities, it's very difficult to figure out what a zillionaire's assets are worth. Good luck on trying to find out what someone like Bill Gates or even Jeff Bezos, who owns the Washington Post, owns other than their stock in Microsoft and Amazon. As people write this, Trump hasn't yet reacted publicly to Forbes ousting him from its rich list, but I'm sure whatever he has to say would be pretty funny to those of us who dealt with his nonsensical numbers for years. In any event, I'm glad to see that the folks at Forbes are doing what they think is the right thing, and they aren't doing what I'm sure Trump would have wanted them to do anyway. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King, and also hit the notification bell so you even notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.